Hey there guys, this is Obsidian Chill. Got another video for you today. This is a continuation of my test server videos for episode 36, Batman Metal Part 2. This is the damage control 4-man alert. Electric healer, I'm running Gemini build, and I'm also testing out the Page of Destiny, kind of how it feels. So I'm not running Biocap because Page of Destiny is essentially Biocap. I don't need Biocap and Page of Destiny for an alert. Healing 3 other people. Let's go. Because Biocap's going to proc at 45% health and Page of Destiny is going to proc at 40%. So that was my reasoning behind taking out Biocap. I'm messing around just with the Gemini build having 2 supercharges. Do I really need 2 supercharges like the 225s? No, but depending on what the players were, they can maximize their supercharge a bit more. And we got Dawnbreaker. We've got the OA background. I haven't actually seen OA in a while, so that was actually a nice change. I don't mind seeing OA. There's always a fun alert. And really, because it's, you know, it's just one room, not too bad, everything's spread out. So the beginning part here, once again, it's really, they put a lot of work into like the animations and the cutscenes and everything. So I think essentially we're just killing things and then basically turning cogs. We have to watch out. There's kind of like, I'm not sure what it would be, like the demon worm or that demon worm construct. He's got some red arrows that'll charge you, it'll push you back and do some damage. It's not going to one-shot you or anything like that, but just something you have to be mindful of. But this first part is just going to be essentially turning cogs. Other than that, I didn't really see any of... oh yeah, these pools of metals, you can kind of see them right there. If you stand in them, they just put a dot on you, but it's really not too much of an issue because unless they die really close to one of the cogs are really close to metal pools. But other than that, it's a big open room, so you got plenty of space to move around without having to worry about the pools. But it's just like a damage over time. I just stepped in there, hit me for... I guess still 14,000, but so yeah, you wouldn't want to just sit blindly in the pool. But yeah, this there's a demon word construct there. This is the alert that was designed by Sharon, so that's why you're going to see in the next section here. This part I'm not actually sure what hit me. The bat swarm did damage me, but I'm not actually sure what knocked me up there, and then kind of I had to break free. It could have been the bat swarm. Could have happened at the exact same time. But really, this first run was really straightforward, but it's nice kind of refresh to see OA again. But yeah, it would make sense the Bat Swarm was the CC effect, because the Bat Swarm in Gotham City Zoo does the same thing. But really, at the moment, it's just a tank and spank and make sure you're turning all the cogs. That's all it is. There's probably a few cogs that went ignored, just because it looks like no one else was doing them. They're just focusing on damage. And now we're going to actually face Dawnbreaker here. Yeah, the strafing runs can damage you as well. It was about 8k, 9k ticks. And the same thing, I got caught up in the swarm damage again. So there's a lot of AoE constructs at the same time. And you see all these, like, look at all the graphic effects with like the birds flopping around. Actually did a really nice job to make it like interesting. Like even though OA, it's the same thing like I was talking about like with False Idols. Like even though the layout in False Idols, like even though OA is not new, it's recycled, but the way they have it set up here, it's nice and refreshing. Like you're not thinking, oh, I'm here in OA again. Plus it makes sense to have Dawnbreaker here anyway. But you got the constructs on the outside, you got all those birds flying around. It's actually a nice job. Now we got all the tentacles spawning. I'm not entirely sure what the tentacles do. I think at one point someone in the group got close to it and they kind of lashed out, but I would assume they work like the tentacles in like Prime Battleground, where if you stand near them, they're just going to swat you. Because I should have tested it, but I just stayed in the center the entire time. But they do a nice job. Kind of zooming around looking at them now. But yeah, my assumption would be just to don't stand in them. But other than that, it's really just the Dawnbreaker fight was more just straightforward. And then we get another cutscene.
Uh-oh. Dawnbreaker's using the pools of metal in his ring to create a hybrid construct. That's a deadly combination.
Yeah, like even the boss right there, it's like That's like a rock creature, but his like all his joints are tied together by the constructs. Like, it's a neat looking boss. And then plus you got his orbital strikes. You still got that beast that's charging through the group, doing like 30 or 40k damage from his roll. You got all the tentacles on the outside, so there's a lot going on in this fight. Not in terms of mechanics, but in terms of like damage sources. And at some point, players get red arrows over their head. I'm not entirely sure. Like, I know the living metal, when you have a red arrow in your head, the living metal will walk towards you. And you see all the red text there, what he's going to control you. I'm not entirely sure what the controlling means. I don't think any of us got to that point. I had the red arrow on me at one point. I just kind of blocked it out, and it didn't really seem to do anything. So it could be like just a time-based thing. And you can see right there, the tentacles just did something. I don't think a player got close to it. I think it was just tied into the effect. So I got the red arrow on me now. The living metal is walking towards me, but it's dying. I'm not taking any damage from it. So I'm not entirely sure what it's going to do. Like, obviously, at that point, the orbital strike spawned on me. But that was from Dawnbreaker. That wasn't from the actual living metal. And then, oh, actually, it looks like, oh, okay. I just saw it there from Heydays. So living metal basically turned him into an alloy, just like at the end of Metal Monsters. I'm not sure how you break free of that. He hasn't still broken free yet. This is the damage component thing, or unless you're stuck until you actually kill the metal construct. We'll see if he channels back. Yeah, you just transfer him back. But that makes sense. Another cutscene. A beautiful cutscene. I can't wait until it's me in the animation doing that. I'm going to save that video clip. But how sick is that? You as a player get to jump on those hard light panels and knock down the boss. Like, you have a whole cutscene dedicated to you as a player. I'm not sure like what the chances are of triggering that, but I can't wait to have myself features in that cutscene like that. That'd be really cool. But yeah, in terms of, I don't know. I always get people talking about in the comment section, like, the way I approach things is things need to be, the way I have engaging content, or way I view engaging content, is to have it like mechanically challenged. There's something you gotta do. There's a high risk of you dying. Like, if you screw up or don't pay attention, you're gonna die. Like, it was kind of it wasn't the Silent School alert. It was the alert from Deluge. Like, remember, it was only like a 6 or 7 minute alert. The beginning was like a complete joke. You just breezed through it. But remember the boss fights at the end? Like, you could actually legit die a few times if you had like Zatanna's Reflect, or you needed like the healing bottles, or you just had the drain supercharges. But, you know, I like, that's where I find engaging content. If there is a risk of me dying, like a risk of like adverse effects happening to me, because like if you just blindly tank spank something, then like in this group up, we're set up a healer, tank, and I think Charlie switches to troll at some point in the alert. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I saw him in troll when I was recording. But obviously this is like a safer group setup. You could obviously run 3 DPS and a healer, and even I think the footage here was like 17 minutes. So even as a tank and a healer and only 2 DPS, it's still 17 minutes. So it's obviously going to be like a 10 to 12 minute alert once it's like a proper group with DPS. Now we're in the Silent School section, so this is part everyone's going to remember. This is because Sharon designed the Silent School alert as well, so he's basically just using elements that he's used to. At least that'd be my assumption. But obviously, you also tie into, what is it, the Drowner or something, so it still plays along in Atlantis, so you might as well use something that you already have created for it. But yeah, kind of going back, because I kind of drifted away from that. My idea of engaging content is going to be different from other people. Some people are going to really pay attention to the storyline. Some people are going to really pay attention to like the environment, the cutscenes, and the graphics and basically like that. And some people are going to be like me, where the first 2 parts don't really matter, but I notice it. Like I noticed that it was really cool in the cutscene intros, and I noticed the graphical effects they've done and put work into it. I take notice of that, but it's not what keeps me doing the alert. Like, I need something to be fun and engaging, so I'll kind of shut up for this cutscene here.
To sacrifice, so the others may live.
So basically, going to this is Silent School, but something a little bit different here with the Taurus bulls, the sigils there. Now, the way we treated this fight was a tank and spank one. Like, I remember at the beginning where the voice was like someone has to sacrifice herself, so I didn't sure if it was going to be like the end of the Silent School where someone was had to turn a cog and we die or become near death. I didn't really see any of that here unless we just kind of, DPS'd, overrid that mechanic. But other than that, I don't think any of us did anything special. I don't think any of us did like certain things standing on the sigil to proc anything. Like, I couldn't see any mechanics necessarily in this fight. It was basically just you just keep DPSing. I'm not even sure what the sigil panels actually did because I didn't see any obvious effects from them. Provided protection from Taurus okay, so it's basically you stand on the sigil and they protect you from the Taurus construct. So that makes sense. I guess it just didn't do enough damage to matter. But yeah, kind of going back to other time, my aren't my live commentaries so riveting and structured? I kind of keep jumping around all over the place when I'm like Robin Williams doing like a comedy routine where I just kind of like I have a point that I want to talk about, and then I talk about like 6 other points, and then eventually like 20 minutes later go back to the original point I was talking about. Yeah, that's structure for you. But yeah, it's everyone's points are going to differ. This is me not paying attention as a healer because Charlie he did not die from burst damage, he just died from dot damage, and that was me basically not paying attention as a healer. And once again, I'm going off on a tangent. But yeah, it's everyone's points are going to differ. I think enough people, if you know me, I want to see hard content. Like, I don't necessarily see like content that's going to punish people. It's too hard. No one can beat it, like in pugs and stuff like that. But I understand that that's not going to work for everyone because I remember reading on the forums, some person took like half an hour to do the duo. It's like, what? 30 minutes to do the duo? What? Because I think I took 14 minutes, and that was just me just messing around. And so, players like experience may vary or whatever like that. Whatever tag phrase you want to use for that is certainly going to vary. But for me, actually, we'll shut up for the cutscene.
Batman is convinced it will help us save the multiverse.
I'll take that. Thanks for opening the way for me. It's so much easier when your enemies do your work for you. The key of Atlan is mine.
Okay, so like I said before, it kind of makes sense that we're fighting a Silent School because we're fighting this drowned boss. Not that I know anything about her, but see, this fight was actually really cool. I think some parts of it have changed, or Sharon did change it because I was reading the patch notes today as of this recording, the 22nd. But so I'm not really sure what this effect. I think it's broken on the test server. You can't actually complete it, but I mean, this fight was actually really fun. There's like pushback galore, and then while you're pushback, that can't heal. So I definitely should have ran the breakout trinket for this. But there's like different stages to the fight. There's lots of damage. There's lots of adds. Like, this fight was really cool. I hope it doesn't actually change. Like, I wouldn't say this fight was hard or like anything like that. Like, I could certainly see pugs dying, but there's a lot of damage on the pushbacks. You got to spin these mirrors around. Eventually, you're gonna see, and then go for the key. But this fight was actually really cool. Actually, I don't mind this alert altogether. Like, an alert's alert. Like, unless it was focused like an elite alert. Like, if they bring those back, then yeah, then we can have something more focused on alerts. But like, really, these ones aren't supposed to be designed to be, take up a whole bunch of your time and be impossible to beat. Yeah. So now I'm assuming we just keep turning these mirrors in and focusing on the target. I just went around and turned the cogs. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. But you got enough ads around the whole time. So this fight definitely without a tank is going to be a little bit interesting. It was kind of set up from the same kind of aspect of the Silent School final fight, where if you're not running a tank, there's a bunch of pushback. So the ground pound was 80k. But it's the same kind of concept where without a tank, that fight gets a little bit hectic because you have the DPS aggroing the boss plus the different sets of ads. So it'd be a little bit more high pressure of a fight. And at some point I get form changed here. Not really sure what did that or what effect it had. I could have missed it. If I was debuffed, I wasn't paying attention to my my debuff log. So someone else could put in the comment section what it actually did. But yeah, I want to make sure that it's more like my first impressions. Like, when I do this video, basically, I have the run recorded and I'm doing my first impressions. Like, I'm not running this alert like 6 or 7 times. I know everything like the back of my hand. I know exactly what I'm doing. This is more like complete first impressions, and I could be missing mechanics. I'm just kind of looking around. Obviously, I should be turning the cog and starting that sequence again. It's more just kind of me having fun. But even then, like, when you turn the cogs on these mirrors, they don't actually face the same direction. So I'm probably not supposed to be turning, like, all the cogs simultaneously. The ground pound again for 90k. But it's just, you can see I'm getting pushed back so often. I can see that annoying a lot of players. But at the same time, you could see it just Gemini circles the entire time. But like, look how cool that was. Like, the top of the dome is destroyed. It fills with water. Now we're swimming underwater. We have to stand by these portals to have air. Like, this is actually a really cool alert. Like, there's a lot of stuff engaged in this alert. A lot of stuff going on. But, you know, that's Sharon for you. Sharon is definitely one of my favorite developers at the moment. Probably of all time. But yeah, no, I'm essentially just kind of watching the fight to see if I miss something. But like, I'm pretty sure it's mostly a tank and spank fight. Like, there's the mirror aspects kind of triggered some of the other mechanics, but at this point you're just making sure you like, what will be health debuff there. That's because we weren't standing in the water pool, so you could probably out heal this. But at the same time, there's lots of ads, lots of damage. You got all the damage from the tornado pulls. You got the damage over time from the actual drowning effect. But now we got like dark seahorses, and we're legitly underwater now. Should be coming to an end soon, but it's basically just just a heal spam. Obviously, if you're like a nature healer or something like that, or something that had like a lot of hots, then you'd be laughing.
That trinket won't help you. Hail, Barbatos!
And that's the damage control alert. Definitely, in terms of overall difficulty, like, it's getting there in terms of it being fun. But overall, a very beautiful alert. A lot of stuff going on. Really interesting fights, that's for sure. Especially that final boss. Like, I wasn't even talking that much through it just because I kept looking at it. I kept being interesting at it. But obviously, with 3 DPS and a healer, it's going to be like a 10 to 12 minute alert once it all gets figured out. But take care, guys. Thanks for watching.